Hello guys, it's Uzumaki What If, and welcome back to What If Naruto was trained by a powerful sensei part 4, so without any further ado, let's start. Samri was standing in front of the Hokage, being debriefed. Next to her was Fu, who was looking around the room, and to the other side, Yujito here for an update. The Hokage himself was looking over the written report. He could not be prouder of his adopted daughter. She beat off a Jinchuriki and fought off an A-rank Nin. Fu, I have to ask. Do you want to be in this village? I have to ask because you basically lost a home. He asked, solemnly. She nodded. Yes sir, this will be my new home now. I was never able to make friends there. Maybe here I can. She smiled and brushed her hair back, before going back to looking around the room. Hokage-sama, if I may? Yujito asked. When he nodded, she continued with her statement. I know the Raikage would be interested in knowing how one of your ninjas defeated a Jinchuriki as soundly as she did. The scoff could be heard quite easily from a certain wind user. I think Samri should write a report for him, sir. I also feel that now that IWA is certainly wanting the 7 tails, the 6 tails may be in danger as well. We would ask that after the exams, the rebels be helped. We would help, but with IWA breathing down our necks, I think the 6 tails needs to be in the new Mist government's hands. This is going to start a whole new war at this rate. We can't have a whole new ninja world war. Samri shouted. That would not happen, as Kyumo is abstaining from any conflict. The Mist is on its last leg and desperate. Word is you may have an invasion attempt on your doorstep. In return for the overthrowing of the current Mist village, we shall not pull back our ninja from the exams. You have my word then. We could use all the help. I'll sign whatever paperwork is needed. However, I will only be sending a few teams. Will the Raikage be joining us? Hiruzen asked. No, but that is because the Tsuchikage is staying as well, and we do not want an assault on our lands to go unprotected. She said before a voice came out of a corner. I will be taking Naruto out after the exams for a while. I think he could be useful elsewhere. The 7 swordsmen are also rebuilding their numbers. But for the Akatsuki this time, I fear. Jiraiya spoke, coming into the light of the room. Fu was asleep by this point and so Hiruzen had her taken out while the Toad Sage sat down. He explained that while Samri was traveling he had found out, not only where Tobirama's swords were, but that the Akatsuki were building in numbers. The S-ranked Nin of the original 10 seemed to be upping their game. They are now 12, and hearing how Samri is in the leaf and doing missions they have upped their numbers. Who is the 11th? Samri asked. The wielder of the 2nd swords. Aoi Rokusho. He was a traitor to the leaf, much as Orochimaru is. Except instead of S-ranked, he was A-ranked. Jiraiya stated. But, the Akatsuki only allow S-ranked Nin. Samri muttered, confused. Yeah, well apparently he has gained power. He apparently possesses lightning armor now as well, infused with his own DNA. Before you ask, the 12th member is named Malice. She is part of the Rinha clan, the last in fact. They also may be adding someone named Runa, and 2 twins named Ai, and Kirai. That isn't the gist of it. Among starting up the 7 swordsmen they've also been working on 5 elemental teams. Each composed of 3 members. He finished. Heartbeats, that was all that could be heard. Hiruzen thought about this for a while before nodding. It seems like we have our hands full. When it rains it pours. Yujito, if you could send word to A about this, that would be much appreciated. For now, though I need to look into at least finishing these exams. Samri. Jiraiya. You guys sure you won't take my hat? They both shook their heads and he sighed. At the Forest of Death. Welcome brats to the Forest of Death. Here you will be expected to pass a survival course of sorts. In the center, there is a tower. You have to get there. Seems easy, right? Wrong. You'll have to hunt, fight wild animals. And gather 2 scrolls. You will be given one, either a heaven or an earth, and then you will be expected to obtain the other. You will have 5 days to do all this. Anko shouted out and giggled. Yo sensei, any advice on what not to do? Naruto shouted. Don't die. You will each be expected to sign a form saying you understand you might die. As for other advice, don't, you know. No, I don't know. Naruto shouted again. Anko sighed and made a movement with her hips. Which Naruto copied. I don't understand, he said. Well, Gaki, you aren't doing it right. It's like this. Now move your hips like this. Ugh, like you are trying to do the worm like a robot while standing. No, like this. She started moving her hips again in a grinding motion. Then she humped the air. And then you smack it like this. She proceeded to make a motion like she was smacking an ass, and he copied. Then you grab the hair like this. More motions. He, of course, copied and she finally grinned. Yeah, that's it. I still don't know what this is, sensei, he said softly, confused and embarrassed. Sex, Naruto, don't have sex. Oh, why is everyone staring at us? Naruto asked quietly as his face turned a little pink. Anko froze and slowly turned around to see everyone with their mouths agape. A roar could be heard in the distance and she could swear she heard a cricket laughing. She giggled and waved before yelling to get started and running off. Naruto signed the form as Sakura and Sasuke walked up. Their faces were red as tomatoes. I swear I didn't know what she meant, guys. He stated, trying to defend himself. Sadly, Dobe, I believe you. You are too naive. Sasuke said. Naruto nodded and then his eyes widened and he said, hey. Sasuke laughed and walked towards one of the gates. The rest of Team 7 followed suit. Naruto told them how he had seals for food. He knew it was cheating but he was always prepared, and they were ninja so cheating was in their genes. Sakura smiled and told him he was definitely not the dope they thought he was. Sasuke grabbed their scroll and Sakura took their papers up. Naruto looked around and sniffed. The buzzer went off and the countdown of 5 days started. They took off into the forest as fast as they could. What seemed like an hour passed before they stopped and looked around. Naruto lifted his head and sniffed the air again before looking at Sakura. Hey, Sakura, you think you could check to see if we are in a genjutsu every now and then? When she nodded he turned to Sasuke. I need you to keep your eyes out as well, okay? I am going to go and set traps. They nodded and he took off. The first thing he did was make 20 clones and set them off. Some would work on poison, others on regular traps. 5 of his clones however had a very special job. Weapon making. Not just any. He needed Kyubi chakra-tipped kunai. You see, he found out that the chakra of a bijou is highly toxic to humans and so he needed weapons laced with it. Specifically, his kunai and shuriken. He could already send the chakra through his swords but it hurt him to do that. So, he was using clones to pump them into kunai and such. They would dispel and he could add them to the traps. Unfortunately, this meant he had to carry them separately and now had 2 kunai holsters. When he was done setting them, he came back and heard a loud scream. All 3 of them looked out into the forest and Sakura muttered that she was scared. Sasuke grunted and Naruto just shook off his nerves. Hey, guys, I gotta go pee, okay? Ima walk over into the forest a bit because of Sakura. With their nods he left. It didn't take long for him to come back but before he could open his mouth, Naruto was slugged hard by Sasuke. Sakura screamed, asking him what he was doing, and he glared at Naruto. "Where's the real Naruto?" Sasuke demanded while in a fighting stance. "What the fuck do you mean, you idiot?" Naruto asked, aggravated and confused. "Naruto had two holsters going out, you only have one. Not only that, but those swords aren't chakra or..." "Oh ho ho, how unlucky for you to notice." The Naruto they saw transformed back into a rain ninja and attacked Sasuke. He jumped into the air and shouted out, "Mythical fire flower no jutsu." The fireballs he sent out outspread in a wondrous shape, much like petals. The man was hit and sent back before Sasuke was on him again. The Nin turned and flipped off a tree before sending Senbon at Sasuke, who dodged them swiftly. The man then appeared behind him and had a kunai to his throat. "Move and you die. Where is the scroll?" Sasuke paused for a second and then the Nin jumped, a kunai headed his way. Sasuke heard the yell from Naruto. "Use chakra and grab it. Don't miss." Sasuke did as he was told and grabbed it with his foot before twisting and roundhouse kicking it towards the rain Nin. "You're always late, Naruto." It hit home in the Nin's arm and he screamed before running away. Sasuke landed and was breathing hard before sitting down. Already a bit tired. Naruto landed near him and pulled out some food immediately. It was rich in nutrients and would make him feel better. "He isn't going far, guys," he told them as Sakura joined him. It was laced with Kyuubi chakra. They nodded and Sasuke spoke up. "Naruto, Sakura. We need to come up with a code word just in case this happens again. No can do. I already have enough shit going through my head. Just ask us what our first test was." Which was the bell test, and Sakura was the best at it and we passed the first time. Naruto said. They were about to question him before they both realized he had said this just in case anyone else was listening in. They knew the truth and knew that the additive was to trick whoever was listening. Sasuke nodded before Naruto said that one of his clones near a trap dispersed. He would be back. He left and ran towards the west. He could smell the snake smell but figured Anko was keeping an eye on him. What he didn't realize was just outside the gates she was freaking out. With the crazy snake lady. Anko was staring straight at a dead body, the face was completely gone but the mark on the neck let her know all she needed to know. There was also only one jutsu that could have done this. She took off towards the forest. Somehow, deep inside she just knew Naruto was in the middle of this. She did not realize how right she was. Back with the knucklehead. Naruto came upon the trap he had set, it was all but smashed. What he did not realize was the presence behind him. Not until it was too late. He turned around and saw a giant snake and his breath caught. He slowly pulled out his swords as it looked him directly in the eyes. He then checked his weights to see how much he could add on if he happened to be swallowed. Now he didn't think he was just randomly going to be swallowed. No, but something inside him told him it was possible in another life. He was damned if he was just gonna let some reptile swallow him. He would add well over a ton to his weights in seconds if this was the case. Then it occurred to him he wouldn't have to do this. The snake paused for a second and just stared. It was long enough for him to take action. He wasn't even worried about why it stopped, just that it did. He was pretty sure it had something to do with Anko, but he didn't care. He jumped up and as the snake tried to dodge, he stabbed at it. When his sword sunk in, he added the weight and let it pull him and his swords down, effectively cutting the snake's guts out. Meanwhile, over with Sasuke, there was another battle being waged. This grass Nin had basically paralyzed them with killer intent. Sasuke was about to hand over the scroll when Naruto showed up and yelled. Everything seemed to freeze for a minute as everyone stared. Well, except Sakura, who was still frozen. "Naruto! Run, we can't handle this man on our own. Take Sakura and go." Sasuke yelled. Naruto was conflicted. By now he had begun to feel the power that this person held and it scared him. However, he was not going to give up. He would be Hokage one day. He looked to Sasuke and then to Sakura, then he had an idea again. Sasuke, wave country combo. Sasuke froze for only a second and then nodded. They both took a breath and blew out, fire release, great fireball technique. Wind release, great breakthrough. The techniques combined and created a huge fire technique. Orochimaru growled and jumped back, yet still being hit by the attack. The kid smiled, thinking they had won before he showed up through the flames, coming out of his own skin. I didn't think I'd have to do this right away, but... He slammed his hand down, doing a summoning jutsu and calling out a snake. Naruto, it was a really big snake. He couldn't believe how huge it was. He still jumped into action and leapt at it. It took off towards Sasuke with speed unheard of for a normal snake, but Naruto jumped in front of it and Sasuke froze again. Naruto was now holding back the snake and growling, looking at Sasuke with fury in his eyes. This is not you. Stop being a coward. You are a fucking Uchiha. Wake up. Naruto growled. He felt snakes picking him up and making him look at Orochimaru. He shuddered as the Sannin smirked. Well. The Jinchuriki of the leaf, huh? Let me see your seal, child. He chuckled while lifting up Naruto's shirt. He was licking his lips before his fingers started to glow. Kukuku, let's stop this from being an issue, shall we? He then hit him full force in the stomach, locking away the Kyuubi chakra, and then threw him away like he was trash. Sakura was now screaming at Sasuke to snap out of it. He wasn't, so she had to throw a kunai to stop Naruto from falling to his death. Upon seeing this, Sasuke snapped inside. I will never let someone I even care about slightly, die. Especially from a maniac. His eyes started to swirl and a new Tomo showed up. He now had the second stage of the Sharingan. He growled and pulled out his Tonto. It wasn't the ore yet, Kakashi was still having it made for him, but he was going to kill Orochimaru with it. Ah! He charged at the snake Sannin and they entered a small taijutsu/kenjutsu match, each dodging the other. Sasuke blew out more fire and went to stab Maru with his sword when the Snake King laughed and twisted his neck out. You impress me, Sasuke Uchiha, but enough of these games. I will have you, not yet, but you will come to me. With that, his neck stretched and with speed that easily passed sound, he bit Sasuke on his neck, leaving a weird mark. That mark I gave you is a seal that gives my chakra and power to one. I will be honest. It does control their will as well. It brings the evil out, the hate. But I won't need to do that to you. You will come to me for more power. Later, Sasuke Kun. He laughed and disappeared, leaving Sasuke screaming and shaking in pain. Naruto, ga, get up, I need help. Everything is going black. He passed out and fell, Sakura jumping up and catching him. He was shuddering and groaning in pain still as she held him. She looked to see Naruto finally fall and ran to catch him, as she had with her other teammate. She carried him back and laid him down next to Sasuke. She looked around and didn't see anything to help, so she pulled out a blanket from her survival seal. While she had not packed food, she did prepare with other things. She covered the two up and sat down crying. Naruto, Sasuke, please be okay. I need you to be okay. We still need a scroll as well. Please be okay with the Hokage. Lord Third, Enko is here with an urgent message. Hiruzen's secretary interrupted the three people in the room. By now Yujito had left and Fu was sent to Samri's home. Enko walked in looking scared until she saw Samri. She took a deep breath and told them what she found. Orochimaru had infiltrated the exams. What? Two-san, we have to go in there, call off the exams. Naruto is in there. Samri yelled. She stood up so fast she got lightheaded and almost toppled over, Jiraiya saving her. Samri, it wouldn't do any good. Unfortunately, it may be too late. Whatever he was here for, it is too late. However, I agree we need to send Jonin in to watch them. However, as long as it is not Orochimaru, we cannot interfere. Hiruzen spoke, seeing Anko looking scared again. Dad, I will go with Anko to check. I need to make sure Naruto is okay. You and Jiraiya-sama can deal with the details of whatever your new plan is. Samri said. Hiruzen stared at her for a bit, her eyes burrowing deep into him. She was going to go even if she was told not to. He nodded, and before he could even speak, she had shistened out, with Anko attached. With Naruto, somewhere. Naruto woke up again, inside a sewer. He sighed and cringed. This was his mindscape. Sheesh, this needs cleaning. Yeah, it does, Kit. Naruto jumped and looked around. Seeing a red-headed woman, or she seemed it. She was more androgynous. As he thought that, however, she formed herself more into a female. She was 5 feet and a half, it seemed. Red hair flowed down to her shoulder blades, but it was quite wavy. Her eyes were greener than anything he had ever seen. She was also not wearing what one would see in a sewer. Luckily, she was in fact wearing something though. Why? Because her body was quite nice. Yes, he could see it. She had on a crop top that did show her cleavage. Not too much of it, but he definitely guessed she was at least a 38C. He did not know how he knew that, however, and it confused him. The information was there though. 38, 24 waist, 32 high hip and 36 hips. Congrats, you know my measurements. We are connected enough in our minds for you to know a bit of information. Now are you going to continue looking at my body, or can we get down to business? He did in fact look more. She was wearing a really long skirt, that reached the floor, but it was slit down the sides, but wasn't slit till after where her panties were. She had really nice, long legs as well. Her skin was like white marble. I guess you're going to keep checking me out. The red-headed woman sighed. Sorry, I didn't realize. Who are you? He asked. Trying not to stutter. Kit, you know who I am. I just can't be in my original form right now. That pedo bastard locked away my chakra. How are you a female? You bijou don't have a gender. Correct. However, we can associate with one, and I have been with 2 women over the last 100 years. Plus, I was considered Sage's daughter. I only have enough chakra to be in an easy form for your mind. So here I am. Now, before you go being a teenager again, I need help getting this new seal off. Otherwise, we will die here. So, I need you to release my chakra. Release me. Not gonna happen, lady. I know what happens if I do that. Kaboom goes the village. He shouted. Oh. For fuck's sake, Kit. You have blocks on it. The seal will stop me anyways. I'm saying to start. It'll release enough chakra to burn your coils. This will disrupt the seal that he placed on you because it was built for, well, you. The original seal was built for me. You will be fine. It'll take a few minutes to work, but I am not waiting for someone else to take this off. Normally I wouldn't even try and help. But you, Kit, there is something weird about you. She said, smiling. He glared at her and squinted. He finally decided she was telling the truth and asked out to do it. Well, you can't open your original seal. So I need you to kill me. She said as if it was the most normal thing to do. Leaving his mouth gaping. She laughed and explained. It won't actually kill me, I mean this form. You will pull it inside you. It'll knock you out for a while, like all night, and hurt like hell for the next day or 2. I also won't be able to help you with any chakra for a few weeks. Like 2. I won't even show up. So, if I allow this, I want a promise. Because I will never get this chakra back, this will be permanent. You will however have more chakra control, so that's awesome, I guess. She paced as he stared at her. I want a promise from you as well. Before you even ask me to promise you something. When this is over, I want an explanation as to why you destroyed the village. Okay, deal. I want this sewer to become a nice place. It's your mind, so change it. Also, I'd like you to at least ask before borrowing my chakra. She held out her hand. He shook it. She smirked and disappeared. At first, he didn't feel anything. Had she done it already? Then suddenly he felt it, the burning pain. He was screaming loudly as he felt his entire body catch fire. His vision blurred and his stomach literally caught fire, the snake seal burning away. He gasped for air, drowning as the sewer filled up. Slowly he started to black out, his world going dark. He was dying, he just knew it. Kami, help me, please. He screamed, bubbling of blood coming out. With Enko and Samri. Enko could sense him. She was mumbling, but she was clear-minded. Samri looked at her when she stopped. We have to slow him down until the Umbu shows up. Samri, I used to be his pupil. You know this. He tortured and raped me. I won't go into the details, but, because of this, bringing him down is my job. Isn't it, Orochimaru? She said, smirking. Impossible. He sneered. He was hidden in a tree and pulled himself out. He saw Samri and didn't know who she was. He shot out his tongue to take her down and possibly use her as leverage to get out, but Enko was quicker. Shadow Snake Hand. She shouted as snakes came out of her hands and she grabbed onto his tongue, pulling him out and throwing him into another tree. She then jumped onto him and used his hand for a jutsu. She was planning on ending this once and for all. That jutsu is suicide. Double snake assassination. It won't kill me, you know. Shadow clone. He laughed as he poofed, appearing in another tree. He smiled and spoke more, completely forgetting about Samri. I gave someone else that cursed seal jutsu. I won't get into the details because I can feel the Umbu on their way. Don't stop the exams, or there will be no Leaf Village. Trust me when I say I have enough men in the village for that. He snickered. It was then a fan slammed into him and knocked him through the tree. You will not touch a leaf ninja, you dick, Samri yelled. Kukuku, very strong. Unfortunately for you, I do not have time to play. His voice said all around them. You better go find your genin and protect them, Kukuku. Count your days, Enko-chan. Too bad you weren't good enough. And you, Samri, try not to get into fights you can't win. While that was a hard hit, I won't let you do that again. See you two later. And with that, his presence disappeared. Enko was shaking and threw up. Samri was by her side instantly, feeling her forehead. She was warm and the seal on her neck was glowing. He was weakening her. Out in the real world. Sakura heard a noise and she looked over to see Naruto groaning. She coughed up blood in his sleep and she wiped away more tears. She then heard another noise and looked into the forest. She looked around scared. Please wake up, you two, I have been up all night waiting. Naruto, Sasuke. Please, guys. She heard the noise again. Up all night? A voice spoke. She looked up in alarm and saw 3 sounds Nin. She shivered in fear and determination, she just didn't know which. One was tall and skinny, had a weird hairdo and she remembered his name mentioned before, Zaku. The next guy was in a very weird and spiky coat. The sleeves were too long for him and he seemed to be hunchbacked, but she was sure this was a diversion. The next was a girl, she seemed to have an ego, but anyone could see the fear in her eyes. So, she was faking bravado. Sakura calculated everything and knew that she shouldn't ask questions. That's what a useless ninja would do. Naruto had set traps around here the day before. She needed them to set it off. Which one though? She cursed and just threw her kunai at the closest one to them. She acted like she had missed and shook her head like she was shaking the sleep away. They laughed and didn't notice the senbon coming at them. However, two of them jumped out of the way as the girl was hit. She cursed and pulled them out. The one with the weird jacket was running at Sakura now and she flinched, waiting for the hit. But none came. When she opened her eyes, Lee was standing in front of her blocking the man. Dosu, Kin has been hit with poison. We need to reevaluate this attack. Zaku spoke up. If she is holding us back then she can die, I don't care anymore. Dosu sneered. Kill her. Dude, what the fuck? The other Nin shouted. Dosu and Lee were staring at each other when three more sounds Nina showed up. Sakura had to blink at them because they didn't even look right. All of them looked like mummies. Same as the other team though they have dressed and cameo, all three were males. They all had swords as well. Well, one also had a mace. Who carried a mace anymore? And what was that sound? She looked up and saw Dosu, running towards them. He had just said something to Zaku about getting Sasuke but she couldn't really focus. Her vision was hazy and she was tired. So, she did a last-ditch effort and threw a kunai at Dosu. He jumped up and the sound increased. As he was coming back down, Lee shoved his hand into the ground and pulled out a tree root. However, Dosu broke through that with sound. Sakura was figuring it out, he used sound. Lee, he uses sound waves. Yash, Sakura-chan. I know I cannot simply dodge their attacks. I am also at a disadvantage being against 5 opponents. I will need your brain, Sakura-chan. He said. But then she swayed and started to fall over. He would have sworn if he was that type of boy. Meanwhile, a bit away. Ugh, we need to find a weaker team, Shika. Choji yelled. Shikamaru expected Ino to be complaining but oddly she wasn't. However, she was worried about her hair. Well, the only team weaker than us would be Naruto's team. Shikamaru said in a low voice, completely bored. Actually, Naruto and Sasuke have surpassed us by a long shot. Sakura isn't a pushover anymore either. Ino stated. Actually, Naruto and Sasuke are knocked out. Sakura and this dude are fighting with a bunch of ninja. Choji said, pointing. Ino gasped and looked where he was pointing, seeing Lee fighting. He had just used a move where he spun and almost took one of the ninja down, but another ninja had softened the dirt. He was weak and panting. She didn't even hesitate and ran out there. Back with our party. Lee threw up after he had dodged an attack. He didn't understand why. I use sound, you said you knew. I don't have to hit you physically, to hit you. I disrupt internal organs and everything. Quite fun. Sound is actually vibration. Meaning we can fuck up a lot, and it all starts with the eardrums. He laughed, and Sakura didn't like the laugh. She went to attack as Lee finally went down. Suddenly a man was behind her and grabbed her by the hair. She screamed as he held her up. He was about to cut her throat when she twisted and cut her hair. No hesitation. That won't save you, little girl. The random sound ninja laughed. No, but it might help her with me here. Kin now screamed. Everyone stopped confused. Even Sakura. Your friend is under my mind jutsu. I will kill her if you do not leave now. Ino. Sakura whispered. Ha, you think we care about her? She was the weakest one. Dozu said while one of the random Nin walked up to Kin and punched her, knocking her out. Ino was shocked, as was everyone else. But again, she didn't even blink and ran out in front of Sakura, getting into a taijutsu stance. I got you, best friend. Best friend? But. Sakura said, crying. But you bullied me after I befriended you, you were a bitch to me. Still are, and you are a bitch to Naruto. But you are still my friend, I will die for you. I will die for Naruto. Shut up and let me fight for you like I did when we were younger. Ino shouted. Sakura was crying now as she watched. She was behind everyone again. She wanted to stand up and fight, but she knew better. She knew she wasn't ready. She nodded at Ino, unsure if she could even see her. Then she saw Shikamaru and Choji run in front as well. She smiled softly, crawling over to the two boys. That's when Naruto twitched. Who do you guys think you are? You are still outnumbered. A dumb fuck, a whore-looking bitch and a fatty. What can you do? Zaku laughs. Choji started glaring and yelling at him. Ino smirked and yelled out Ino Shikacho formation. Choji nodded before doing his expansion jutsu and rolling towards Zaku. Dosu tried to go help and got trapped by Shika, and Kin got mind-trapped by Ino. Sakura tried to speak but was very tired. Too tired, in fact. She needed to warn about the other Nin. Naruto twitched again. Zaku dodged and smirked, using a sound attack to make Choji dizzy, or they thought. But he didn't use it at all. It was one of the other Nin. Then Ino shouted, using Kin to surrender or she'd kill her. Ha ha ha, little girl. Do you really think we care? We've been through this with the pink-haired bitch. Dosu yelled as the three ninja came out finally and one stabbed Kin. Ino choked up blood in her form and Kin. She couldn't believe it. The ninja standing over Kin's body grinned and raised his mace. It was then that everyone felt the killer's intent and a demonic chakra. Naruto had woken up and was standing. He was even a few inches taller now, and he looked more feral. His hair was now a bit longer, like Minato's, and his whiskers were deeper. His sky-blue eyes now had a ring of silver around them. He looked at the man about to attack his own Kin, no pun intended, and growled. He walked forward, or what seemed like a walk to him, but everyone else saw what looked like a run. He pulled out both his swords and before anyone could blink, he shouted out, "Wind release, faithful wind blade." With that, he swung both of his blades and for a second no one saw anything. But Kin screamed at the sound. Nin's head rolled next to her and his body slumped to the ground. Ino was shocked. Did Naruto just kill someone? With no hesitation. You protect your village mates, even if they are not on your team. That is what ninja do. He yelled. The other two ran at him and swung their blades, but with a quick swing, Naruto blocked them, smirking as his swords cut through theirs. He then twisted and swung hard, and both of them crumpled to the ground. Also, I wouldn't go after Sasuke. Yeah, I heard all of it while I was under. I should be under still. I am volatile right now, this power, it hasn't settled. But you don't want to mess with Sasuke. And why is that, kid? I can sense your chakra going down. Zaku said. It was then he screamed. Right behind him was Sasuke, the curse mark activated, and he was pulling on Zaku's arms. Because, right now he isn't himself. And I am going to let him do what he is going to do next. You will not spare. I will be taking Kin, and Dosu will not pass to the next round. Naruto laughed, so evilly it made Sakura shudder in fear and Ino blush. She knew it was to protect them. You see, you don't know half of our abuse, me and him. And we don't trust outsiders very much, those that hurt loved ones even less. You were so worried about me that you didn't even hear him ask Sakura who did that to her. Well, bye-bye. Naruto sneered as he picked up the shaking Kin. She was begging him not to kill her. I won't hurt you. Stay still. Sasuke, you are free to do whatever you need, but after this. We tell Sensei about that seal. He muttered. Sasuke nodded. Throughout the forest, you could hear a scream as Zaku's arms were ripped from their sockets and completely off. Dosu cursed and tried to run only to see a volley of kunais. A girl in buns was on a tree next to a boy with lavender eyes. Seems we are late, but you aren't getting away that easily. We protect our own, no matter how worthless their fates are. Niji spoke quietly. Dosu was about to retort when a Tonto stabbed him. He could feel the blade pushing into him, not even coming out the other side. He coughed up blood as Sasuke yanked the blade upward, killing the sound Nin. Everyone was dead quiet as the body halves hit the ground. A few even throwing up. Naruto walked up to Sasuke, placing his hand on his shoulder. Stop, my friend. It's over. We are safe. He could feel the pain and turmoil in his best friend. The mark started to recede and he nodded, hugging Sasuke before pulling away and turning to the pink-haired girl. Sakura-chan, can you watch over her? I sense others on their way. Niji looked back just as he said that and mentioned the oncoming ninja to Tenten. They all got ready for yet another battle, but then Anko and Samurai appeared. Naruto immediately perked up and shouted hey. Samurai ran up and hugged him. Sensei, Orochimaru is here. He put a seal on Sasuke. Anko whispered, but it was loud enough to be heard by everyone else. Yeah, also, Sensei, you hugged me. Naruto said, yeah, I know. It's getting more frequent. I guess I see your stupid ass like family. We aren't allowed to interfere. However, I would suggest you get to the tower if you have your scrolls already. Samurai said. We don't have both, Ino spoke up softly. Here Ino, we have extra, Tenten said as she gave her one. This is what it means to be a village, the will of fire, to stick together. Now all of you, go to the tower, together. We, unfortunately, cannot stop the exams, but you need to be safe. We will follow and not interfere unless he or one of his men show up. Samurai said, ruffling Naruto's hair. Did you get taller? Also, you are going to explain to me why your chakra feels different later, okay? She said. Not really giving him an option. He nodded and she and Anko disappeared as all 9 of them made their way to the tower. It wouldn't be long before they showed up. They were 3 days early and would get to rest for the next few days. Naruto did tell Samurai what happened. And she confirmed that his chakra coils, in fact, were bigger and that his chakra was more potent. It gave him a huge edge in battle. Unfortunately, he had to tell them about Sasuke. That was a bit harder. They sealed the mark, however, he was still feeling its effects. Also being next to Naruto when he changed, the seal sucked in some of the chakras. Sasuke was now more powerful and deadlier. His mind was darker as well. Naruto over the next few days was the only one who could calm him down. Sakura as well, but less so. Otherwise, it was uneventful. The Sand siblings had been the first there. Gaara was slightly better, but he was still murderous. Not towards allies anymore, but anyone else that got in his way. He wasn't happy and finally, he decided to ask Naruto about it. You are the same as me. But you are always happy. Why? Gaara asked, in a grave voice. Because I have precious people I protect, I guess. I never looked at all the bad that happened to me, just the fact I was going to prove everyone I loved wrong. Gaara nodded and walked off. Naruto had given him a lot to think about. Time skip. Congrats on passing. From 90 to 24, that's pretty awesome. Unfortunately, too many teams passed. So, we have to yet again cut you guys in half. So right now, I will ask, for whoever wants to leave, leave. No one did. Unfortunately, Kabuto's team didn't make it through because of Kumo's team. Only Kabuto made it. And Naruto growled. He didn't like this. Something wasn't right. Also the Hokage had mentioned allies, so why did he see IWA and missed here? Probably to try and mend relations. This is the team load up, pay attention to it. You will be fighting these people right now. The first name on the list, please step forward. Genma spoke as he coughed. Naruto vs Kimi, IWA. Sasuke vs Shirsuro, missed. Hinata vs Kiba. Shino vs Kankuro, sand. Shikamaru vs Mi, missed. Ino vs Sakura. Niji vs Dessa, missed. Tenten vs Karui, Kyumo. Temari, sand, versus the first winner. Lee versus the second winner. Omoi, Kyumo, versus the third winner. Gara, sand, versus the fourth winner. Choji versus the fifth winner. Lalu, IWA, versus the sixth winner. Samui, Kyumo, versus the seventh winner. Gen, IWA, versus the eighth winner. Naruto saw his name first and cursed. First, they get a sick proctor and now this. Samui walked up to him and bent down to whisper in his ear. There has been a new development. There is evidence we may have an invasion. To show off to the Kage that are showing up, or not showing up as it seems. Kill anyone that is not Kyumo. Sand, or leaf. She smiled and out loud told him to do her proud. He stood there stunned for a minute before nodding. Tree hugger, you don't even stand a chance. I have grown up being trained specifically to defend against the leaf ninja. So do your worst. The brunette said with a sneer on her face. Her name was Kimi and she was from IWA. He knew this much and saw her fists tightening. He waited. When he didn't answer her, she got pissed. She yelled a jutsu shooting up earth and throwing it at him. As the big boulders came at him, he tightened his own fist. He made the sign for his shadow clone jutsu and shouted it out. 50 Narutos ran at her with attacks that she dodged. She put up a wall but he jumped over it. Then her body tensed as she felt it. The lightning coursing through her veins. She felt the heart attack happening right after. She didn't even feel herself hit the ground afterwards. However, everyone else saw him with his hand at her heart. Cough. Naruto Uzumaki wins. Sasuke, Uchiha and Shirsuro, please approach the arena. As Naruto passed Sasuke, he saw the look in his eyes. He had been given the same order. No matter how many people he killed, he would never get over it. He threw up right outside and stayed out for a bit before returning. When he came in, Sasuke was pulling his tanto out of the brain of the mist. He shook his head. 2 down already. Why only those 2 places though? Samri had said rumors of an invasion. But, it wasn't a rumor, was it? Hinata and Kiba came out to the arena next. I am sorry, Hinata. I have to do this. Kiba said with his voice full of remorse. No, I am sorry, Kiba. She slid into her gentle fist stance. You could hear the sorrow in her voice but her face showed no emotion. Kiba shook his head. He got into his stance and immediately called out Suga. He started to spin his body and head in the direction of Hinata. This was not something she could normally block, but she had been stalking Naruto and unfortunately for Kiba, she had picked up a bit more from watching the sexy blonde. She bent over backwards and dodged him, but as he flew over her, she shot her palm up. She had taken some of the chakra paper that his sensei had left behind and checked it. She was fire and lightning. She thought this was cool, but at the same time, she was saddened that she wasn't lightning and wind. What does this have to do with anything? Well, she figured out how to do an air palm which uses chakra to push the wind. This is what she used here. If she had touched him, her hand would have been shredded. But she didn't have to touch him for it to work. When she activated the air palm, it sent him spiraling out of control and into a wall. When he got up, he slumped to the ground, taken out by her gentle fist. She had run to him before he could get up. Yeah. Hinata teach the dog a lesson. You're awesome. Naruto cheered for her while jumping up and down. At that moment she felt confident. She looked up at him and smiled while blushing. He was proud of her. It made her so happy to know that her Naruto-kun was proud of her. Cough cough, Hinata Hyuga is the winner. Next up Shino and Kankuro. Shino walked up and Kankuro did as well. They both stared at each other for the longest time when Kankuro finally got fed up and attacked. Shino just dodged and sidestepped everything while occasionally pushing his glasses up. Attack me. The sand ninja yelled while shaking with anger. I don't have to. You've already lost. Shino said with an even tone. Pushing his glasses up one last time. Wah! The body that was supposedly Kankuro fell apart, showing it was a puppet. The sack that he carried around opened up to show the true Kankuro. How? He asked with fear in his voice. My bugs can eat through chakra. Now I'd like to not drag this on. Shino shrugged. Winner, Shino. Next up will be Shikamaru and me of the mist. Shikamaru wins. Next up coughs is Ino Yamanaka and Sakura Haruno. Please enter the arena. Both girls glared at each other as they walked into the arena. Both are tired, Sakura from not having any sleep and Ino being damaged mentally. I won't go easy on you, Sakura. Just so you know. Ino said in a smug tone. I'm not going easy on you either, Ino pig. Sakura smiled as she got into the Academy Taijutsu stance. Naruto almost laughed and Sasuke nodded. They knew that Sakura was going to have a tough time. Especially when Ino took the taijutsu stance she had actually been working on. They stared at each other for a moment longer before Sakura took the first shot, jumping into the fray. Naruto was now confused as to why she was using that particular taijutsu stance. Didn't his sensei teach her something else? It was made apparent when she activated her chakra knuckles. Ino gasped as Sakura's speed increased and she was landing hits on her. Fuck. What is happening? She's not only faster but her style has changed as well. Do you like my style, Ino pig? I call it the cherry bomb bloom. Sakura said as she slammed into Ino repeatedly, her fist speeding up with each hit. Now one may think Ino was now overpowered by Sakura, especially watching her increase in speed. That is unless you were a Jonin or an Uchiha. The chakra output in her knuckles distorted one's perspective, like a genjutsu. She was actually not moving faster, it just seemed that way. In fact, one with a trained eye could see Ino moving slower. The knuckles also drained chakra, creating a fix for her not having a lot of her own, to begin with. Thanks, Naruto. Sakura thought. Ino wasn't dumb. She started realizing that she felt drained. She knew she was getting quite sluggish. Fire release, petal blaze. She shouted before throwing up flower petals and setting them on fire with her chakra. With that, she started to sway them and make them get in the way of Sakura. She then lowered her body and used her legs to sweep Sakura, making her fall to the ground. Yang, weed overgrowth jutsu. With that weed started to slow Sakura down even more. It wasn't a very strong move, however, it was effective against people who didn't have physical strength. For Sakura it was perfect. Up in the stands. You can use Yang as an actual release. Kurenai asked Asuma, who nodded. Yes. Actually, all of my genins can use one or the other. She uses it to put life into her fire. Water, or earth. She also has Een, I believe. This one she changed earth and water. It's an imitation wood release, but that's about as strong as it gets. Well, unless you count that she can make plants grow quicker, but she can't just create plants out of nothing. Back with the girls. Sakura cried out in frustration. Her momentum had been lost and now Ino was kicking her ass. Literally. Ino's taijutsu style was quite effective. Sakura had lost. Winner, Ino Yamanaka. Niji wins here. 10 and Karui, would you please come into the arena? Both women stepped into the arena with a smile on their faces. Naruto stared at them both. Karui was gorgeous. She was definitely different from Konoha with her darker skin. Her red hair, and her gorgeous eyes. The way she held herself was magnificent. 10, of course, was gorgeous as well, but this girl was strong. 10 smirked when she saw that Karui had a blade on her. She unsealed her own blade and grinned. Karui laughed and got into her kenjutsu stance. She had been ordered to do everything but kill the leaf. She was going to make this quick. Tree hugger, you don't stand a chance. She then ran towards 10 as their swords clashed. 10 jumped back after the first clash, switching to her normal weapon style. She was going to use kenjutsu, but not until she felt it was okay. She used her first jutsu of the day, Twin Rising Dragons. She pulled out 2 scrolls and flung them open. As weapons flew out and at Karui. Naruto stared. He wanted to root for his friend, however, he saw the goddess with the sword and was secretly rooting for her. He watched as Karui smirked and did a few quick twists, making all the weapons fall. 10 tried to jerk back her hand but nothing happened. Silly girl. I can sense the wires. That won't work for me. I wanted to allow you to have a fighting chance, but I kind of feel like humiliating you. No hard feelings, just in front of the IWA means here we want to show some strength, yeah. I call this the tri-sword style jutsu. She ran at 10 who pulled back out her sword. She was ready to parry with Karui until the girl stopped right before her. Her body started to spark and she yelled. Tri-sword style jutsu, stage 1. Front. With that, she slashed at 10. No one saw it hit at all and were confused. Before a second had passed she was behind. Stage 2. Back. Then they saw she was behind and slashed again. No hit, again. Stage 3. Rotating drill, and she turned back around and her sword sparked more before she pushed into 10. But again, she didn't hit her. When she jumped away, everything happened at once. No, mind you, this all took 3 seconds. But, there 10 was, jerking backwards as a slash appeared, backwards as another. And finally, she was hit with a rotating blast of lightning that sent her flying into the wall. All this in another 3 seconds. That was delayed and invisible. Even my Byakugan couldn't see it. Niji spoke, a bit shaken. Cough's winner, Karui of the Cloud. Genma hacked. We will have a 30-minute break, until the next challenge. After the new sets of challenges, you will have a month before the finals. The challenge list is on the board. Naruto vs Temari, Sand. Sasuke vs Lee. Hinata vs Omai, Kyumo. Shino vs Gaara, Sand. Shikamaru vs Choji. Ino vs Lalu, IWA. Niji vs Samui, Kyumo. Karui, Kyumo, vs Gen, IWA. Naruto didn't have to rest, he was back in perfect condition. As was Sasuke, along with the seal on his neck having even more seal to stop the effects. Hinata, after watching Karui, was nervous, so Naruto went over to talk to her. Hey. I believe in you, okay? Just don't let him hit you. After this, if you win, I want to teach you how to use a shadow clone. You might only be able to use one, but it could help. What a great plan. The voice of his sensei said as she walked up with Fu in tow. Naruto, this is Fu, the 7th Jinchuriki. I want to do something for both of you. Suppression seals for you, Naruto. Except this time, it's for chakra control. It'll mean you will have to do all your training over again. Which will be lovely. Because within a day, you will have twice the chakra control. Over the next week, it'll be 10 times what it is. Hinata, I will teach you a secret that I know if you win. You will be going with me on a mission if you win. I gained your father's permission. Here is the chakra paper. If we can find out your chakra nature, I will help you become the strongest Hyuga ever. On the condition that when we come back, you teach Naruto how to mix the gentle fist with his stance. My father would never allow that. He also cannot use it to its full extent. She said. I have that covered. You will also be learning a mixture of a style depending on your nature. Samri answered, confident. It had been hard to convince Hayashi to allow her this honor. Flashback no jutsu. Hayashi, I think I could make her strong. She isn't the type to just be beaten up and learn. They were at the council meeting, to deal with the issue of the invasion. Hayashi was angry. This woman, not even true of the leaf, felt she could train his weak daughter better than him. What makes you think you can do a better job? He yelled. I brought the dead last to someone who ultimately almost took down an A-rank ninja. I also have the teachings of the great Pakura and the great third Hokage. She smirked as everyone realized she was right. What would you have me sacrifice for this? He said quietly. Her to teach Naruto her ways of the gentle fist. Another uproar. Your wife Hayashi, may she rest in peace, was different as well. She also taught the fourth Hokage a bit of gentle fist. And Kushina. Your brother-in-law died for Naruto. Shouldn't we honor their sacrifice and their legacy? Everyone nodded at that. Don't you think he deserves it? Hayashi sighed. It was true, everything was true. He nodded and agreed. Only if she can prove herself. Naruto will learn from me if not. She will win the preliminaries. And when I come back with her 3 weeks after, she will become Chunin in the finals. Flashback ends. So, 3 weeks of training and traveling with me, and then a week of showing him some moves yet? Samri smiled. Hinata nodded quickly, but then she realized something and looked down sad. I have to beat that Kumo guy first. Easy peasy. He might have the same battle styles as Kurai. Do the chakra paper and I'll tell you how to win. Hinata sighed but grabbed the paper. She channeled chakra into it. It crinkled, showing lightning but then caught fire. Samri smiled. This is gonna be fun. She then pulled out another piece. Naruto, I need you to redo it. I have a feeling that part of your chakra Naruto was hindered before. We didn't even know about those suppression seals. He nodded and grinned as he channeled some. Like before the paper split, however, this time both sides crumpled. Something else was in fact off, however. The paper grew lighter in color, which made Samri tilt her head. Does he have a yang release? She ignored it for now, making sure to ask Hiruzen later. She also noticed something else and needed to test it out. She told him to do it again. But first, she made a seal to lock wind and lightning chakra. He winced in pain, and she thanked Kami that Jiraiya had shown her some seals for when she was training Naruto. He channeled again and at first, nothing happened. But when she grabbed the paper, she could feel that it was barely damp and slightly warm. Could Naruto have water and fire as well but locked away? No, that wouldn't make sense. Otherwise, it would show as it does for a Jonin. This is not his chakra. But it isn't the Kyuubi's. Another thing I need to discuss with Jiraiya and Toussaint. She told Naruto to thank him, and before she walked away, she told Hinata the plan. The next part of the preliminaries was about to begin. Start of the prelims. Welcome back everyone. I hope you had a nice rest. Naruto Uzumaki, and Temari if you will join the arena. Genma coughed and walked to the edge of the stage, taking a pill. Naruto looked at Temari and cursed at himself. Why the fuck am I surrounded by beautiful girls? Temari was looking at him thinking close to the same. Except hers was only focused on him, how he was cute, and how he was her aunt's student. So cutie, how are we going to do this? Did you get anything other than that sword? Because that won't touch me, you keep thinking that, Temari. Naruto stated, smirking. You keep thinking that, Temari, Naruto stated, smirking. Genma yelled for them to start and instantly Temari was attacking. Naruto made 50 shadow clones as she shouted her attack. Great fan tornado. She shouted. The attack took out half of the clones but he still kept coming. She looked to see if she could see the original, but she couldn't tell. She repeated the attack and all of the burst into smoke. She cursed as he had disappeared and was about to turn around when she heard his whisper. Fox style, shifting wind. He swung both his blades out as he jumped back and got into his taijutsu stance. She was confused when she got back into her own position. He didn't move. That was until she moved and he moved with her. She growled and sent a blast of wind at him and he smirked. He lowered his stance, swinging out his leg. Before twisting and cutting the wind with his swords. The wind split and didn't hit him at all. That wasn't all, however. It turned back, following his blades as it picked up more speed and wind. She brought up her fan in preparation for the attack and on the sidelines Samri smirked. So he was watching me train, huh? He grinned as he jumped up when he reached about 10 feet of her before swinging his swords down, slamming them into the ground. The ground shook a bit and the wind started to blast towards Temari. She hit it with her fans, being pushed back a few feet or so. Thinking it was over, she looked at him. He was pulling his swords back up and she felt the rush of air as it returned to him. This kid was manipulating the wind. He slashed again and this process kept repeating and repeating. He is playing with me. This cannot hurt me. He doesn't want to hurt me, just shows that he can beat me. She growled and shouted at him. Just beat me if you can. Why are you holding back? Well, it could be because you are absolutely gorgeous. But you are an ally. To confront an ally is low. If I went all out, you'd be dead. I also don't want to hurt you too badly. But, if you insist on some damage, then so be it. He said, leaving her blushing. He then started to spin and yelled out. Wind release. Blade of wind. Wind release, wind current slash. His blade started to show signs of wind chakra. He then jumped around slashing at nothing, or it seemed to be nothing. But the wind was picking up and forming into blades. She tried to dodge it but each slash he did curved like a current until it hit her. She eventually held up her hand and forfeited. Winner, Uzumaki Naruto. Next is Sasuke and Lee. Those two jumped into the field and both smirked. As Naruto passed Sasuke he patted him on the back. Sasuke gave him his tanto to hold. He wouldn't be needing it. Lee, I'ma make this quick. Great fireball jutsu. Sasuke shouted before Lee could even react. He sent a huge fireball at the green-clad boy. Lee was in fact able to dodge it and charged Sasuke, but what he didn't know was Sasuke had already prepared another jutsu and was waiting. Fire release, three-fingered control. Fire release, blazing shuriken dance. Sasuke's hands lit up, his index, middle, and ring fingers all glowing red. He also threw out flaming shurikens, made purple of fire chakra. Lee was quick to dodge the shurikens but yelled when he was released, and they followed him. He made an error in judgment and decided to take the hit, not wanting to be distracted. Unfortunately, he did not see Sasuke's hands light up. When Sasuke appeared before him he was ready for the attack, but not ready for his arms to catch fire when Sasuke hit him. Sasuke didn't let up and continued to hit him, hurting himself and slowly killing his chakra. Lee didn't know this however and watched as Sasuke activated his Sharingan. Lee was about to open his gates when Sasuke yelled out fire release, land ablaze technique. He took a breath and spewed liquid onto Lee and Lee gasped at how hot it was. Sasuke smirked and spoke out loud. I'd forfeit if I were you. All I have to do is a slight outburst of chakra and your entire body will be caught on fire. If you think I won't because you are a leaf ninja, then you are mistaken. No. He would only stop for 3 people. Proctor, I forfeit. It has been an honor, Sasuke-kun. Lee bowed and Sasuke nodded. Naruto shook his head at what happened. He felt bad for Lee, but Sasuke was ruthless. The next battle he was overly excited about, however. Hinata walked into the arena looking nervous. She was about to face the teammate of Kurai. Omai smirked and looked around. He had a popsicle in his mouth that he did not take out. Hinata saw Naruto smiling and her confidence was boosted. If she won, she would get to spend more time with him. She got into her stance and waited. She only had a few moves she had learned from watching Neji. When Omai ran at her his sword ready, she activated her Byakugan. His speed increased with lightning and she started to spin. She was not perfect in this and it would be months before she was even close. To be honest, she wouldn't have even completed this yet if she had not been stalking Naruto and watching him train. In fact, it was Samurai who gave her the idea in the first place. During one of the stalking instances, Samurai caught her. She had told her that Naruto did not like weak girls, and if she could show Naruto that she could defend herself, then he would watch her more. It was a lie, of course. Naruto didn't like someone for strength or will. And Hinata knew that now. But it pushed her back then and now she at least had this down. As she was twisting her arms, chakra was coming out. Neji squinted his eyes in slight anger. Was this possible? No, it was incomplete. It wasn't the heavenly spin, but what was it? Guardian Palm Sphere. She spun, protecting herself as Omai hit. Hit's sword did not penetrate and he was confused. He pushed harder to no avail. When he jumped back she stopped and shouted. You are within my divination. 64 palm strike. She started to spin and even Neji gasped. Was he wrong about fate? Everyone watched as she hit Omai. 2. 4. 8. 16. 32. Omai was already gasping for air this time. Everyone's eyes were wide. Naruto was cheering and screaming in favor of her. 64 palms. Omai looked at her, unable to move as he fell to his knees. He looked back up and saw a hand in front of his face. Stay down, Cloud Ninja. I will prove myself to my father, and Naruto-kun, whom I admire as well. I will shake the Hyuga clan to its core. I will release the branch members. This is my promise. I do not break my promises, for that is my nindo, my ninja way. The whole arena was silent. Naruto was staring at her, he literally could not stop the butterflies. Neji was wide-eyed and his eyes were slightly misty. Did she really mean that? Has fate changed? Hinata is the winner. Genma said, shaken a bit. The next trials went by fast. Ino won again, so did Shikamaru. Gaara won against Shino, and Karui won against her opponent as well. Neji, still shaken up, went down to the arena. He saw Samui and looked down. I do not know if our fate has changed, I am lost right now. But whoever wins this will have proven themselves and whoever loses will have to train harder. I will not hold back against you. He said quietly. The Kumo-nin nodded. She pulled out her swords and Neji got into his stance looking at the women in front of him. She was of average height and young, however, she seemed to carry herself as an adult. She had a small tanto in her hand and stood lazily. She had a low-cut blouse, showing off her ample cleavage, and a skirt that showed off her legs. Her cleavage was covered in mesh as were her legs. She had an aura of power behind her. That, cool actually. She smiled at him and held up her hand, making a motion telling him to come at her. He moved at extreme speeds and attacked, using the gentle fist style. However, she dodged almost every attack. When she raised her tanto, he used the same move that Hinata used. This time, instead of her incomplete one, everyone saw the complete form. Samui was knocked back into the wall and her tanto was thrown to the other side of the arena. Niji was back in his stance when she stood back up. That was a good attack, unfortunately, it won't help you much. He prepared for another attack but didn't see any being prepared. She just stood there. His Byakugan didn't see any movement, and he didn't feel she was doing anything. In fact, she wasn't. She was calculating her moves. She then smirked, her body covered in lightning armor. It was risky to do this next move. She saw the last Hyuga's fight and she was not happy about having to get near him. She then ran at him. Her mind made up. As she got closer, her speed increased. Niji started his gentle fist attacks to meet her, but his hand felt weird as it hit the armor. He was going through it slowly though. What he didn't notice was the lightning in the armor was disappearing and going to her arm. Electric overdose technique. She yelled as she hit him. He grunted as his moves slowed down. She was out of breath and backing off, breathing hard. That technique shocks your system and puts more weight on you. It should have doubled. I won't let you do that 8-trigram thing. That is so uncool. She stood back up and stood still for a moment. She was charging her chakra. The thing about Samui is she could always recover fast. Her chakra coils were healing from his previous defense jutsu. As they did, she pulled lightning into her arms. Both of them started to glow as she pointed them at him. Niji started to speed up again. He wouldn't be able to do his big attack, but he could most definitely do the 64 palms. 64 palms. Lightning release, twin pillar bolt. They both yelled as he clashed with her. Her hands shot forth bolts of lightning that hit him, and he pushed through them. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, he was gasping for breath. She was screaming now, pouring everything into him. He was shutting down and his movements were slowing down. He had lost. He fell as the last palm strike hit her. They had both fallen down and Genma was waiting for one to get up. Then they both sat up. Everyone thought that Niji had won, he had to have. But then Niji cursed. His Byakugan showed that he had not done what he had wanted. Her chakra networks were still slightly open. When I was screaming it wasn't because I was pouring the chakra out, I was pulling it back in. I only needed the arms to hit you initially. I then started to pull all that I had poured into my right, back into my body. I remade the armor while siphoning off my right arm, and sending the chakra in the left arm into your body. Proctor. I lost. Niji said, the ghost of a smile on his lips. He had lost with dignity. He had lost with honor. He knew that he would have to stand behind Hinata now as well. He was wrong. Inside, however, he wanted to be in the finals. To show Hayashi that he was worth something. That could be done at a later time, however. The proctor called the match and Niji was helped up by Samui. Genma looked at the stands and called out to them. In a month, the finalist will be here. The matches will be on the board before you leave. I hope you all train before then. You are dismissed. Naruto vs Samui, Kyumo. Hinata vs Karui, Kyumo. Shikamaru vs Ino. Sasuke vs Gaara, Sand. Each of the contestants looked at the others. Samui was looking at Naruto with a straight face. Inside she was thinking he was cute but she wouldn't act on it. She was here on a mission. Naruto however winked at her and her eyes went big. She looked away and Karui walked up to her. As they talked, Naruto and Hinata met up. He hugged her tightly and congratulated her. I guess Sensei will be training you, huh? She set up a special trainer for me. Jiraiya of the Sannin, my godfather. He said happily. Do you have a godfather? Naruto-kun, that's amazing. You aren't stuttering anymore? He asked, chuckling. She giggled and shook her head. I've got to be strong now, you know. They laughed and he asked her if she wanted ramen before going with his sensei. She nodded and joined him. Time skip. Jiraiya waited in the predetermined spot for the kid. He was sure that the kid would win, and he knew that the kid would show up. Of course. While he waited, he was going to do research. At the moment he was looking in hot springs when he felt the presence behind him. I really hope you aren't Jiraiya. The voice said. Yep, I am. Jiraiya turned around to see a kid about 5 feet 6 inches standing in front of him. He's a bit tall for a 12-year-old. But, boy does he look like Minato. So the Toad Sage is a pervert? Naruto asked. No. I am a super pervert. Yeah, okay. So Ano, you are my grandfather? Naruto said quietly. Jiraiya stopped the pose he had taken up with the perverted subject and looked down at the kid. Yeah, Gaki, I am sorry I wasn't around. But I will make up for it. I have plenty to teach. Are those chakra control suppression seals on you? I thought Samri wasn't supposed to give you that until later this week. Yeah. She gave it to me last night. She had to leave with Hinata. Now, when you train me, you aren't just gonna be a perv, right? Maybe in another life, I would be barely training you and leaving you alone while I look at women. But I can do that anytime. I may still do it a little. In this life, however, I will be honoring your parents. Tell me, kid, do you know you have 2 types of chakra? Naruto nodded. Yeah, the Kyubi chakra, right? Yeah, I know. She told me I had to ask her the next time I use it though. Oh shit. Be right back. Naruto shouted before his eyes went blank. In Naruto's mindscape. Naruto ran through the sewer-like area until he came up to the cage. He heard the grunt and saw the towering figure behind the cage. About time you showed up, Kit. The Kyubi snorted. Yeah, sorry, Kyubi. I was busy and I forgot. Hang on. He excitedly shouted. He closed his eyes and focused. The room started to grow brighter like there was a sun rising. Suddenly it all blew up and they were standing in a field with a cottage. The cottage was where in the middle of the cage and fully furnished. There was a forest and a lake as well. The Kyubi looked around and smiled, her form shrinking until she was humanoid again. Thank you, Naruto-san, you need to get back out there, the Sannin is freaking out. Naruto nodded and left. He didn't get as much time there to ask questions, the answers he wanted. But as it turned out he didn't have to. He suddenly gained the knowledge of that night, and how it was an Uchiha that controlled her. Back outside. Kid! Hey kid! Jiraiya yelled. Naruto finally came and looked at him. What? Were you just talking to Kyubi? It isn't trying to control you, right? Also, did you say she? Jiraiya looked very worried. Nah, she's fine. She isn't hurting me. Also, yeah, she chooses to be a she. So, about this training? Yeah, okay, well, never mind about the Kyubi part, however, I do want to teach you 4 jutsu. The first 2 are the summoning and the Rasengan. Now I have a fox contract that your sensei handed over to me for you. Did Anko teach you how to summon? Naruto shook his head. Okay, first I will teach you the summoning. I am assuming since Samri put that seal on you, she wants your chakra control up more. So, Rasengan can wait till the next chapter of our story. Jiraiya said, pulling out the scroll for the fox summoning. Chapter? Naruto tilted his head. Yeah. I am a writer so I use terms like that. Now while you do that I will watch and figure out how to teach you the next 2 jutsu. They are kind of only able to be done by Uzumaki and will greatly help you learn the 3 major jutsu from your father's side. Don't give me that look. I can't tell you till you become a chunin. He said as he showed Naruto the signs for the summoning. Naruto grunted at the secrets but nodded. He copied the summoning hand signs and kept practicing until Jiraiya thought he was ready. He then told him to sign the scroll with his blood. When he did, the most mysterious thing happened. They both heard a laugh, deep and beautiful. Naruto knew it, and Jiraiya suspected. Jiraiya, however, was the first to understand. Kid, your Kyuubi is the elder to this summon. All summoning clans have an elder that the boss summons follows. But this is good. It means you are automatically accepted. See, even your blood is glowing. So, try and summon a fox. I don't think you will get the boss summon at first, but perhaps you will get one of the knights. Before you try, however, we need to go into the woods. Wouldn't want the citizens seeing a huge fox. He said happily as he watched. In the woods 5 minutes later. Jiraiya showed him again how to do it and told Naruto of the time limits and such. Before long he was ready. Naruto smiled and did the signs, slamming his hand down. A huge plume of smoke appeared and they waited for it to go away. When it finally did, Jiraiya started to laugh and Naruto's sweat dropped. Laying there was a little kid, yawning and looking up at him. Gaki, that's funny. You need lots of practice, haha. Ugh, fine, I'll try again. You should use some of my chakras first. It has been a while since someone had a fox summon. They aren't used to it. Naruto nodded and pulled some of Kyuubi's chakra out, slamming his hand down. Jiraiya felt it before H saw it and immediately was on alert. There in front of him and huge as a small family home was a huge blue fox. The tails on it added to 7 and it had armor on. On its back were 2 huge chakrams. It looked down and its voice boomed in a feminine boom. Who is this that stands in front of me? Why did you summon? She was looking at Jiraiya, but he pointed at Naruto. She looked and her eyes widened. Jinchuriki. You have the queen in you. Naruto nodded, he knew who she was talking about. Fist bump with her, I will order her to follow you, otherwise, you will have to fight her to earn your place. He nodded and told the blue fox what Kyuubi said. They fist bumped and her eyes glowed for a second. Prince Uzumaki, it will be an honor to follow you. My name is Katrina. Ano, hi. Naruto waved. Okay, Gaki, I guess we can learn the racing dash. Jiraiya was speaking when Naruto suddenly disappeared with the fox, Naruto. He yelled. Fuck, Hiruzen is going to kill me. That's all for What If Naruto Was Trained by a Powerful Sensei Part 4. If you like this series, don't forget to like and subscribe and press the notification bell. It helps me upload more What If videos.